G'day legends, we have got an update on the Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall situation, and it seems like Tom Aspinall is having success in poking at Jon Jones and trying to rile him up. And quite frankly, that is all we need. Like we have said earlier this week, we're putting Jon Jones between a rock and a hard place, and it is working, okay? I don't know if everyone remembers this. I think it was back at the UFC London card. I really need to go back and find this footage. But there is footage of Jon Jones mentioning Tom Aspinall, and Tom Aspinall was just, to use a British term, chuffed. Chuffed. He was saying that all we wanted to do was just get on Jon Jones's radar and make Jon Jones feel like he was hearing Tom Aspinall. And ever since then, we have just pushed forward a little bit more. I think Tom Aspinall has been playing all of this perfectly. So everything that you guys are doing where you are signal boosting what Tom Aspinall is saying, reliking the tweets, keep talking about it in comment sections, it's getting to the point where Dana White now has to answer questions about it at almost every single press conference that he does. And he is getting sick of it, saying that he is going to punch back at the fans or slap back at the fans or something. I don't know, mate, but Dana White, we all better watch out, you know, because even his wife is going to get it. But when it comes to Jon Jones, he has now come and answered Tom Aspinall's call. And just like when it comes to running away from a smashed up car with a pregnant woman in it, Jon Jones has gone back to his old tactics. He's running away, okay? It's too bad. Tom Aspinall should get a bunch of flour, you know, put it in a Ziploc bag, put it in his back pocket. Maybe then Jon Jones will pay attention to him and come back to the scene of the crime. But Jon Jones finally dropped a tweet and it says, "I am 37 years old now. I've kicked everyone's ass. My job is to finish strong and make an amazing movie. Go join Tom Brady, Floyd Mayweather, and all the other retired badasses." This is now the hard point that Jones has gotten to, like I alluded in the previous video earlier this week. If Jon Jones retires now, the entire MMA community is going to remind him of how much of a duck he was and how we have now forced Jon Jones into a position where if he retires as a coward who is running away from the next runner-up. Just like how he ran away from the Dominic Reyes rematch, just like how he stayed out of the sport while Francis Ngannou was in it. What Jon should have done is had just fought, if he was just going to fight Stipe, right, and remain adamant throughout this entire build-up of going to go fight Stipe, that he is 100% going to fight Tom Aspinall afterwards. And then after the Stipe fight, should he beat Stipe, accidentally have an injury that writes off his career, accidentally have another injury, and walks off into the sunset as the man who retires with an injury as one of the GOATs of the sport, who really wanted to fight Tom Aspinall, but unfortunately his body just gave out on him because of all the hard wars that he had in the sport. If he had painted that sort of narrative, if he was mates with Chael Sonnen, he could have come up with a story like that. And the fans would have covered for him if that is how he would have gone out of the sport. And if you don't think that the fans would have covered for Jon Jones if he had done that, rather than what he is doing now, Jon Jones fans are already covering for him. So this narrative that he's writing now of, I don't even need to fight Tom Aspinall, if he had just written a narrative of, I really want to fight Tom Aspinall, but unfortunately in training camp getting ready for the Tom Aspinall fight, I had an injury, I just can't do it. I think I'm going to retire, guys. I'm now 38 and my body is clearly not able to handle training anymore. His fans would have carried him through that. But instead, he is very clearly saying that he is going to retire after the Stipe fight and acting like Tom Aspinall isn't even a big deal, which is, of course, anyone who watches MMA or watches the UFC knows that Tom Aspinall is the future of the heavyweight division. The previous tweet that I just showed is also in response to a video that Thomas put out showing Jon Jones running away from him all over the country, all the world. It's bloody hilarious. I'll show you parts of it here now.
When you talk about who's the baddest dude in the world, you put two guys in a room and who walks out? Jon Jones walks out of the fucking room every time.
Exactly right, Dana. We need to get Jon in a room first. Let's go and find the room. Hello, Jon. 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 Hello, Jon.
Oh boy.
Jon.
It was at this moment that he knew.
Sorry, mate. I thought you were someone else. Sorry.
Jon? There he is, we've got him. Jon! Jon!
Finally, when it comes to Jon Jones versus Stipe Miocic, legacy-wise, it's a great fight to make, and I feel like I didn't mention that in the first video, so I just wanted to bring it up here. It's a great fight to make, okay? The greatest fighter of all time against the greatest heavyweight of all time. Let them both retire and ride into the sunset. I completely understand that storyline. The problem with it is that they are doing it for the undisputed heavyweight title, which Tom Aspinall clearly is the rightful title holder right now. And they are holding up Tom Aspinall's legacy, his career, and his greatness. And Jones is ducking Tom Aspinall to LARP as the heavyweight champion of the world when he is going in there to fight a 50-year-old, 4 years since the last win, being retired Stipe Miocic. Acting like that fight is seriously competitive when it comes to the heavyweight division is a LARP. And I do not understand why in November we cannot have a fight, a pay-per-view at Madison Square Garden or in December in Las Vegas where we throw together a legacy pay-per-view card. And there is this idea or this narrative out there in the MMA community that you can only have a pay-per-view card with a title fight on the line, which is just plainly not true. Since we have been in the ESPN era, do not forget we have had all the Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier fights, and people will be like, well, that's Conor McGregor, so, you know, he gets an exemption. Well, then shut up. Shut up. Listen to this. We also had Colby Covington versus Jorge Masvidal. Just a money fight. Just a plain old grudge match money fight. That headlined a pay-per-view. We also had Nate Diaz versus Tony Ferguson. That was going to headline a pay-per-view. And we had that one, and in place of that one, even without the massive name of Tony Ferguson, it was going to be Khamzat Chimaev versus Nate Diaz. So if the names are big enough, and Colby Covington is not that big of a name, let's be honest, okay? He is a meme to scroll past on TikTok. That is Colby Covington. If you have a big enough name, you can have a pay-per-view without a title fight on the line. And we have got this position in MMA this year, I'm not even going to do the whole current year thing. We've got a position in MMA this year where we still have Clay Guida. We still have Tony Ferguson. Nick Diaz wants another fight, and Dustin Poirier is getting to the end of the career. Why can we not put together at the end of the year with UFC 300 at the start of this year or around the start of this year, at the end of this year, either November or December, a legacy send-off card with a co-main event of Dan Hooker versus Dustin Poirier 2, one of the greatest fights of all time in a 5-round co-main event with on the card below it, some Nick Diaz, some Tony Ferguson, some Clay Guidas. Chuck them on there. Is Arlovsky cut or has he got one more left? I don't know. But you see what I'm saying here. Build a card of legacy retirements and let's finish the year with some damn good retirements and headline it. Headline it with Jon Jones versus Stipe Miocic retirement fight, one of the greatest of all time versus one of the greatest heavyweight of all time. And let's send everyone off this year with a great card and a great pay-per-view legacy fight night pay-per-view card. I don't know. UFC 310, the greatest. Fucking chuck Conor McGregor on there too and let him go punch on and sleep with midgets over at the BKFC. Go away, Conor. That's what we should be doing. So that is all derived from this little back and forth between Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall that has been going on this week. That is an update on the situation. That is, if you're going to complain about something, you might as well have a better idea to help. So I've chucked that in there at the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Of course, let me know down there in the comments. Do you think Jon Jones is actually running away from Tom Aspinall, or do you think he's just playing the Jon Jones game? A little bit of back and forth. What do you think about my idea for a legacy card at the end of the year? That's it. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit the subscribe button. If you've been on board with the channel and already subscribed, a like goes a long way. And until then, I will see you all in the next video.